Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. How's it going? Ugh. Midpoint of the week. You guys all good? I realise I ask these questions and there's always a delay on the stream. And I'm like, why is no one answering me? Then I realise, oh yeah, it's the delay. There we go. Anyway, Derek Neiman, thank you very much for being a member for 21 months. Incredible scenes. We're getting close to 2 years, Derek. That's a long time. Where was Bard's family when the Westfold fell? Dead. Maybe. Who knows? Just chilling out in Lake Town, one would assume. Just having a good old time. Starting to fret I'm not going to finish my Tales project. You've got 3 days, Fake Street Spirit. You're all good. You're all good. I'm sure you'll be fine. Won my first Spearhead. How are you, Josh? I'm okay. I'm very, very busy. Very, very, very tired. But I'm good. I'm good. I'm all right. You know. We're just about getting there. You know. This November is nearly over. We're almost into our final month of the year, and you know, I'm a little worried that we're not going to get to 75k on the year for subscribers, but that's entirely out of my control. All I can do is keep making videos, and that's exactly what we're doing. That's why we're streaming. Just got to keep going and keep hoping that you guys enjoy this stuff. We just got to find another 1,300 people or so who are into the idea of Contrast Plus. Or me, just into the idea generally of me, that they believe that I exist, you know. We'll see. We'll see if it happens. It sure would be nice. Given that this year has been, it's been a really good year in terms of models and videos that we've produced, but it's not been a 40k year. So, because it's not been a 40k year, it means things have been quite a struggle at times. Stuff like, as codexes have come out this year, a lot of the time they've done things like the new mini goes in a Battle Force box, which is full of other older minis. So stuff like, you know, the Chaos pack, the Chaos Lord jump pack, for example, I didn't get sent that, so I couldn't do a video on it. So it meant that the kind of the headline 40k stuff that came out, we weren't really involved in at all, which was a bit of a shame. And this year's been, for me, really fun, because it's been a Age of Sigmar year, really. But Age of Sigmar, despite our best efforts, is not quite the biggest war game in the world. But we're getting there. We're hoping, you know, I feel like around these parts we've helped in the mission to grow the wonderful game that is Age of Sigmar. How many on my OF? 3. And they're all called Jim. You know, and they're quite aggressive a lot of the time, which makes it quite a difficult corner of the internet to occupy. I realise I hadn't updated this, so I'm just going to do that. And you guys know what to do with that. But tonight, what are we doing? Well, tonight we are going to build one of the best miniatures that Games Workshop has made this year, in the form of Ungrim Ironfist. There it is. No instructions, as always with Forge World. They're just like, hey, you enjoy this, go on, have a go. And we're also going to be building 3 of the worst miniatures Games Workshop has ever made, in the form of Bard the Bowman's family, Bane, Sigrid, and Tilda. Because this is what you want. You guys don't want to see the good miniatures. You want to see the really bad ones. So that's what we're going to do. Derek, thank you very much for the $2. That Deathcore box, though. I know, right? I think I'm going to paint the Deathcore, because we've already done the blue. I think I'm going to paint them maybe in the style of the fifth, which is that kind of brown and grey. You know. My man, would you ever consider creating some sort of table or spreadsheet that tells people which paints can be used to highlight other paints? Citadel ones, like a reference sort of thing. Paid, of course. That's a really tricky one to do, because it's not always the same. Not always the same, depending on the outcome that you want. And there are some paints that are... So take Black Legion, for example. Black Legion can completely change based on what you shade it with. It's not a simple cut and paste of Black Legion, then this, then that. It's what are you trying to do with it? And I think once you get through all the permutations of what you can do with the black paints, it's already out of control as a project, as it were. I can contemplate it a little bit, but like I said, it does tend to change, and also like some things can also be the same depending on what you're after. That's the question mark. Is that if you try and codify it too much, I think that limits the creativity. But I'll have a think. I'll see if it's something that I can think about doing. But yeah, it's like I said, it's always and it also changes based on primer. That's the other thing as well. So Cygor Brown over Greyseer, completely different paint to Cygor Brown over Wraithbone. So therefore the highlight would change. And again, same thing over White Scar. So that's what I mean, is like even in that very basic instance of, let's just go with Cygor Brown as the example. Cygor Brown over Greyseer, Cygor Brown over Wraithbone, Cygor Brown over a White Scar. That's codifying it 3 different ways, which is then like a case of, well, why don't you just do it the same way on all of them? It's like, because it looks completely different, you see. It's one of those difficult ones. Oh, I feel like I'm going to sneeze. That's why I knew it was coming. Just sneezing and I have become old friends in the last week or so. Well, last month, I would say. Which have been awful. Hello, Chris Bailey. Hello, Captain Manrings. How are you doing? Friedel, the Chainmaker, looks super cool. It does. It's a very cool looking miniature. I only have 2 criticisms of it. 1, it's a bit late. And 2, it's resin. I would say, just to follow up on that, Oliver, I think the best thing I could do, and this is why I haven't done it, is that it will take me about 1,000,000 years to do, is to make shorts based on the colours. And I've done a couple of them, but they take so long to do, because you have to have the models. So like, the actual filming of it's not a problem, but, like, let's say you want to do how to paint red capes. Blood Angels red capes. Let's call it that. It's actually better for me to be like, here's a recipe for this thing that might be, like, you might be able to transpose across multiple different things. Because in that instance, I've got the miniature and I've primed it and I've painted it. Whereas if I was like, how to paint red armor, it's like, what red armor? Deep red armor? Blood red armor? Scab red armor, bright red armor, dark red armor, mid red armor. That's the thing. It's It's a huge time sink because there's the building, the priming, and then the filming doesn't take very long, and even the editing doesn't. But it's like you lose an entire day just to doing those recipes. Only 22 likes. Well, everybody out there, you have the power to get us to 31 likes, which you've already done. We need to get to 50 likes. That's our goal. That's what we want to get to. And if we get to 50 likes, our next goal after that is obviously the immortal number, 69. And then after that, it's 420. But you know, we've never reached that many likes on a live stream. But yeah, so we have, here it is. We have all of our components today for our 4 minis that we're going to be building. Here's the arms. I cannot believe these are multi-part. That's what I hate so much about them. There has the actual effort that has to go into them. And not only that, they're really bad components. And let me explain why. We have scenic bases for them, right? And they are person locked. They are miniature locked. So B, C, and A. And the only way you can do this is you have to take this one miniature at a time. Because otherwise, if you're like me, you'll forget. So the question is, which one are we doing first? The worst miniatures Games Workshop ever made, or one of the best? Any recommendations for a wash/contrast to put over Incubi Darkness to make them pop? I'm using it on my Militarum berets. What did I use it on recently? I used it on something. Check out the Aranath and Argadir video. I used Incubi Darkness on that one. Yeah, it's a Middle-earth miniature. It came out a couple of weeks ago. I used Incubi Darkness for the cloaks there. I can't remember what I did to it, but that'll help you. I've enjoyed the sprue reviews, especially since they just don't show the sprues on the store page anymore, it seems. Oh, thank you, Sly Guy. We actually got a couple of sprue reviews coming up, which I'm excited to do again. They're always a fun video to do. Especially if it's for something that's unpopular. If it's for something that's unpopular, oh boy, those comments get out of hand. Right. This is such a terrible miniature. Okay, you're saying get the rubbish ones out of the way. Alright, let's do it. It's this, I believe. So we have A, C, and B. There they are. So that belongs with him. So that's B. So let's just go for, let's do number A first. So that's A and A. You and you. And I think we need these two arms, yeah. So we'll just snap them off. Get all of that out of the way. Sprue review for Blood Knights. I want to see how bad they rank. I do the sprue reviews because I think it's valuable content on something that's new and upcoming when I get it. I am not willingly going to go and build a horrifying kit to make a video for something that no one will watch. Thinking of painting dark green robes. Need mid and dark tone. Any tips? Depends on what kind of green you're going for. Because green's a funny one. I'm really bad at greens. But again, so within the green sphere, there's like, what do you want to like a forest green, grassy green, a deep green, sea green, military green, that kind of thing. Why is this happening now? Give me a sec, guys. Sorry about that. Anyway, let's get this terrible set of models on the go, shall we? Right. So we're building Bard's family, the worst miniatures that Games Workshop makes by far. Yeah, there we go. Alright. Why on earth you bought them? Because chat made me, Dandy. I said I would do it if they reached a super chat goal. And then they did. Doesn't even fit. So that's fun. Oh, it's going to be one of those, is it? Alright. Sick. There is absolutely no justification in the world for these arms to be separate from the body. Absolutely no way in hell. Which is worse, building Bard's family or spending over £1,000 on a Warlord Titan? Spending over £1,000 on a Warlord Titan, but only because that made me feel sick. Yeah, that's true. They are expert level kits. Edge highlighting Bard's family tutorial equals 10 million views. It does not. That'll do. I don't know why I care. Oh my god, this is enraging. It's exactly the right angle where you can't apply any pressure. Without getting your finger stuck to the bloody model. Right, there we go. Fine, it's done. Terrible. A. Yeah, we are on the right track here. Rage building, bad business. Yeah, rage building, the worst miniatures ever. I hate them. I hate them so much. Oh look, the arms popped out. Now I have to snap it. There we go. Good. 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 So now I have to clean it up, because otherwise it definitely won't go in. Despicable. It won't go in! Piece of I'm going to smash it with a hammer in a minute. Oh well, who cares? It's together. Who cares? Doesn't matter. Even if the arms don't work, doesn't matter. They're terrible miniatures, so who cares really? Terrible miniatures rendered in the worst material. There you go. I just felt like that snapped in my hand a second. Where the hell are the feet? I can see one. It's ridiculous. This is where it's going to be really funny, and it's going to be like, oh yeah, actually it's mislabeled. Don't worry. Everyone knows that. roughly there somewhere. Who knows? Oh, that's fantastic. He leans back on his base and he's not central to it. That's all kinds of disastrous. What a terribly designed miniature. Alright, here we go. Last one. End this hellhole before... No, I have to clean that. There we go. There are no wonderful details to destroy on these. There is not one redeeming feature of these miniatures at all. You know, sometimes people will be like, I don't like the face on it, but otherwise I really like the model. No. Everything about these is terrible. The posing's awful. The detail's rubbish. The faces are dreadful. They just look like they're all on marionettes. Of all the scenes in The Hobbit they could have chosen to replicate with these miniatures, they didn't choose any of them, and instead they just went for dreadful. Look at that. What is she doing? What is she doing? What is he doing? Guppy fish at feeding time. Anyway, they're built. Are these your submission for Tails, Josh? No. No. I actually haven't had time to do my submission for Tails. Not yet. That's going to have to be my rush job on... Where are we now? 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th. It's going to have to be my rush job on Saturday. Thank you very much for 50 likes on the stream, guys. I appreciate that. Tom Ayres. Also, Tails question. Do we need to say / explain anything in the email submission, or just hi, enjoy / be kind type deal? You don't have to tell us to be kind. Yeah, all you need to do is tell me what it is. For example, if you're submitting something that isn't a Games Workshop model, there is no way for me to figure out what it is, other than just being like, I can't just Google grey robot. Do you know what I mean? But just tell me what it is. Also, tell me who you are. And if you have an Instagram handle or something like that, put that in there as well, if you want it shared. Otherwise, I'll just use your name from your email address. Come on, Warhipster, say one good thing about it. A person worked hard on that kit. No, they didn't. No one worked hard on that kit. No one worked hard. No, they did not work hard on that. They know what they did. They were phoned in, is what they were. And then someone greenlit it. And then someone approved it. And then someone sent it for manufacture. Everybody there knew exactly what they were doing. They were phoning it in completely. When is the stream for this month's submission of Tales? It is on the 8th of December. Angry Josh is fun. Am I? I'm still confused as to how Desolation Marines got sent out for sale, to be honest. I don't think they're that silly. They're a bit silly, the Desolation Marines. They're not that bad, though. It's just a Space Marine with an outsized gun, which we've seen many, many times before. It's just, in that particular instance, it doesn't work for most people. For some people, they really like it. The rest of the model is not a problem at all. It's just, yeah, the whole thing doesn't work. If that gun was on like a vehicle or something, it would be fine. And it's basically what they've done is they've taken a vehicle-sized weapon and point defense weapon on a vehicle and put it on some infantry. And in that instance, it hasn't worked. But like things like, you know, las cannons and that, they all sort of look like they make sense. But that's only because they've been around as part of the design language for a lot longer. We use them in the MESBG army. No, absolutely not. I don't have a Lake Town army. I don't have any other Lake Town miniatures, and I'm not getting them, so I can use these miniatures. These miniatures are going to be put in a blender. Do you know what we'll do? Here's what we'll do. There you go. It's the only super chat goal that any streamer has ever set ever that will definitely not be reached. Are you sure that is a good idea, Josh? It's a super chat goal. Of I think I said yellow or higher. Yeah. 20 yellow super chats. Thank you very much for the $1 there, Travis Woodside. That does not count towards the goal. Right. Shall we build a miniature I'm actually excited for? Let's go for it. Greetings from the Czech Republic. Your work is fantastic and I draw great inspiration from you. Thanks for your great work. No, thank you, Petter. I appreciate that. What about one red super chat? I don't think that'll do it, James. That's exactly what's going to happen there, Ricky. As our resident MESBG superfan, Ricky, are you a bit excited for this weekend? There's some interesting little bits of sprue here. I absolutely love this miniature. I can already feel my blood pressure cooling. I had quite a funny idea for the video on Bard's family, which I'm not going to spoil now. But just as a word of warning, they will look awful. Why do I feel like that's a long bit of sprue? It is. You see that? See that lip there? That's not meant to be there. Or, no, it's not. That's really interesting, that one. I mean, it cuts away easily enough. What am I doing wrong here? I can't really see it over there. I think I got it. I'm at full mast. Poor wallet, not going to know what's hit it. Which miniature is this? This is Ungrim Ironfist. This is from the new... well, it's from the old world. It's a new version of Ungrim. Because it's before Ungrim... it's before he becomes the hero of legend that we know him to be later on in the old world, the world that was. So this is a square-based miniature that I've wanted since the moment they previewed it, because I think it's gorgeous. We've got more. I can't tell if that is. I'm just going to leave it. That bit needs to come off. As does that. There we go. So there we go. So there's Ungrim. He is in theory going to look like that once I paint it. We shall find out though. Right, I'd imagine the sensible thing to do here is to glue in the axe on my axe. Come on, off you go. It is a circular bit under here. So that's not what you want. There we go, that'll do. Yeah, it's got to come off. As does that. Is this the smallest miniature you've worked on? Nah. I think one of the smallest... What's the smallest miniature I've ever worked on? Probably some sort of like totem or something like that as part of an Underworld's warband or something. Now we sit here and hold this like this. Legions. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Legions Imperialis. He's alright, but ain't no Gimli. Best Gimli model for me, it's the one sitting on a dead Uruk. Yeah, that one was very good. I like the one that came in the Heroes of Helm's Deep because it's the one I had first. Of all the Gimli models. Back in the day. That version's my favourite. Only for the nostalgia of that was the one for me. I used it for many years. He is the Slayer King of Karak Kadrin at this point, but he's very young. Okay, which way round do we think these are going to go? There has to be a... This bit goes on the top and that bit goes on the bottom. Okay. There we go. So this is the top blade. It goes in there. Like thus. Have to definitely hope that you glue that the right way around. So when will we see Ungrim? I don't know. I'm a little bit busy at the moment. I can't really plan anything outside of the next 3 weeks. That's quite the axe you have there, sir. That's an axe that means business. Okay, now we have these horns. Which look vaguely interchangeable. No, they're not. Okay, cool. Did you see the new free doll? Yes, I did. It's a very nice miniature. It's just a shame that it's in resin and it's coming out a little bit late. That's one of the things I've found a little bit, I guess frustrating is probably the right word for about Old World, is that there hasn't really been that much in terms of new models, and like with the Empire stuff only just went away. So when they're saying the Empire stuff has finally returned, it's like it only left last year when Cities of Sigmar appeared. And some of it you've been able to get all this time anyway, because it's in that battle tome. So it's like, this doesn't feel like the big victory that they kind of, the big exciting thing that they've kind of dressed it up to be at times. And it's like, I just feel that's a little bit, it's been a little bit disappointing in that regard. Because it's not like, I think I'll proxy it as a Chaos Lord on foot. For Age of Sigmar, I think a lot of people are planning to do that. Okay, I don't understand. Does it have to go that way around? No, room Brits. It's impossible to tell. Be nice if they were different horns and it'd be... Let's just go for it. There we go. All built. Much nicer. There we go. A young Ungrim Ironfist. So, Ungrim Ironfist was the last of the Slayer Kings of Karak Kadrin. From the old world. So he's the king at the time of the end times. who's the king here now. But Ungrim is a tie to the old world as we knew it before the old world came out. So to Warhammer Fantasy Battles. I'm getting Seraphon for Christmas and I want to do them orange with black scales for a lava vibe. What colour would you recommend for the Saurus underbelly and for the mounts that won't clash? Well, for the underbelly, I would suggest priming your Seraphon in Wraithbone, and I would suggest Seraphim Sepia for the underbelly. As for the mounts, I don't know. I don't know what I would do. Because if they're going to be like hot, fiery lava, presumably you just want to do the same thing on the mounts as well. If you see what I mean. Because if they're like bright blue, being ridden by a lava dinosaur, it kind of, it'll look a bit odd. I hesitate between the Great Unclean One, Be'lakor, or Archaon the Everchosen. Who did you enjoy painting the most? P.S. I enjoy every video, and hopefully by the end of this year you will have 75,000 subs. Thank you, Raymond, 60p. Great Unclean One. Great Unclean One I had the most fun painting. Be'lakor is great. Archaon is a real challenge. But Great Unclean One's just a fun time out to paint. What do you suggest I read first to start familiarizing myself? With which? With the old world? Because, honestly, for the old world, if you want to start familiarizing yourself with the lore of the old world, the new core book is really good, because that's where we're at. So, the old world, as it stands, the version of the game that we've got now, is it's actually set quite a ways before the events of the end times. So when Warhammer Fantasy Battles was ended, we had the end times, right? And that's how they blew up the world and got rid of everybody and killed everyone off. And that's where Age of Sigmar was born, out of the ashes of the old world, the world that was. So that was 8th edition End Times Warhammer Fantasy Battles. This version of the old world is set sort of 300 years before those events. So 7th, 8th edition, I think the thing most people would be familiar with of Warhammer Fantasy Battles is that stuff beforehand. Now that's covered quite well, at least the bit that matters, the ending, really, is covered quite well in the Total War games, 1, 2, and 3. You can learn a lot about the people and everything involved by playing those games. You can learn a lot of who the main players were, which is a good way to do it. As for this version of the old world, I would recommend reading the core book and some of the arcane journals, because that will tell you who everybody is that's currently relevant. What is your opinion on the Carmine Dragon Forge World kit? I don't know. I don't know what it is. An out of stock and no longer in production dragon? Yeah, it's okay. I would say that they make much better dragons now. I've never seen that model before. Interesting. End Times left such a bitter taste in my mouth. So many characters getting terrible endings and my favourite faction barely being mentioned. Yeah. But it doesn't matter now because it's back. That's the thing. The game and the world is back, so it's all good. So yeah, Ungrim is the king, basically the high king, is the Slayer King of Karak-Kadrin. So he is I think, is he the High King of the High King of the dwarves? I don't think he was. High King Thorgrim Grudgebearer. So Thorgrim Grudgebearer was the High King of the dwarves. The core book from Dominion. The core book from Dominion will give you a good grounding in everything that happened up to AOS 3. It won't have anything to do with the old world. The AOS stuff doesn't generally have much to do with the old world at all. It will maybe reference the world that was, like Sigmar, say, in the ashes of the dying world, this, that, and the other. But it won't generally have too much in the way of the old world stuff. But the Dominion core book will give you a bunch of lore on Age of Sigmar. So you know. He is torn to lead his people well while seeking a righteous doom to cleanse his family name. Yeah. That pretty much sums it up. He's a cool dude. He also just has a beautiful miniature that I just really wanted to paint as soon as I saw it, the day it was announced. It was that and the Dwarf King on shield, with you know, the one with the shield bearers. I really like that model. So then, which core book? The old world one. Hang on. This one. This will give you a good grounding in what's going on in the old world currently. For the end times, I'd read the internet. This is such a hefty book. I haven't picked it up in a while. Elspeth was in one of the recent Total War Warhammer 3 DLCs. Who is Elspeth von Draken? I'm going to use Google to find out. The Dark Lady of Nuln is the answer. A powerful amethyst wizard. I like the internet because it's free. Yeah, the internet's really good. What 40k/AOS faction would you recommend for learning, especially contrast control? I was thinking about hordes like rat/tyrannids due to the amount of test models and organic shape for contrast. Yeah. You're spot on there. Tyrannids are pretty good for it. There's a lot of texture to them. And they're pretty... At the risk of annoying a bunch of Tyrannids fans, they're pretty boring miniatures. So they're generally just like 4 colours. It's the carapace, it's the skin, and it's the claws. And then like bits and bobs here and there. There you go. Super chat goal ended. Not a single super chat towards that goal. No one wants to see more Lake Town miniatures, so we're not going to do them. It is a democracy, after all. I like the internet because it's free. Who is my dad? I couldn't answer that question for you, Travis. I wouldn't know the answer. YouTube would not let me send 20 $10 super chats. I understand YouTube's hesitance to let you do that. It sounds dodgy, doesn't it? Got some interesting music going on tonight. This is like Halloween playlist or something. Slightly weird. Who can say? There we go. I mean, I've built everything I set out to build tonight. One was a lot more fun than the other 3. Yeah, I'm not surprised that Bard's family are the worst models in the world, because they already are. There's no redeeming features, no redeeming qualities to them whatsoever. But Ungrim was quite nice. I need to put him on a base, but I don't know where the square base has gone. I'm missing that at the moment, so I'll need to go and dig that out. But we're not in the habit really of having streams where we silently dig through boxes for square bases. You know? There's a certain level of professionalism. It's not very high, but there is a level of professionalism. But we are 2 likes away from our second goal of the evening to get to 69 likes. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for getting us there. That is a sound idea for a stream, though. It's not, because I'll explain why. Is because I don't actually have the room to be able to do it. So there is a very, very, very precarious a very, very, very precarious system in going on in here that essentially I can have one box out at a time and then I have to pack it away, but that doesn't work until after like the first 20 boxes, because there's more boxes behind the boxes, but you can't get to them without removing boxes, but there's nowhere to put the boxes that I've removed. And that is a problem. That is a problem. And as soon as I get a moment to sit and categorize and figure out and do an inventory and all that kind of thing, as soon as I get time to do that, I'm going to take that time, and it's going to be glorious, and it's going to be slaughter. But I just haven't had the time between being ill and being busy. It's been one of those winters. It's not even winter yet. It's the autumn. So yeah, it's been a funny year, this one. It really has. Like I was saying at the top of the stream, like, this has not been a 40k year at all. It's been a really bad 40k year. And it's been a great year for Age of Sigmar, but as a consequence of it being a great year for Age of Sigmar, it means less people have been watching the channel since around about May. Which is just what happens when there's a massive focus on Age of Sigmar. And we are slowly changing hearts and minds. But if it's not 40k, there's a lot of people who don't really care. Which is a shame. But there's nothing I can do about it other than keep making the content. Which is what I will keep doing. It's because all the games are getting updated at once and Warhammer has spread its focus too wide without the team support. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. It's also like I'm at a slightly weird junction, I think, in terms of the channel, in that I'm perpetually busy. Because we're at a really good size, but we're not. I don't have anyone to help because I can't afford to hire someone else, essentially. So we're at a really good size, and in order to keep being at a really good size and to keep growing, I just have to basically be perpetually busy, which then means that you lead to situations where, thankfully, a couple of times this year I've been ill, but I've been so productive that I've had content ready to go. So like last week, it was week before, when I missed a Me Time Monday. Can't remember, because I was just too ill, and tired and sad. People should be keen to see the new Aspect Warriors, I think, actually non-boring 40k minis. The problem is, Ian, I already have videos for all of those Aspect Warriors. They're already done. So do I do them again? Just on slightly bigger miniatures? To be clear, I think they're really nice. I think they're really nice miniatures. I just don't see the point of them. Dave, thank you very much for being a member for 35 months. You're a month away from a 3-year anniversary. What do you think of Slaves for painting? To Darkness? I think Slaves to Darkness are... They're a really effective, really cool army to paint. And it's easy to underestimate how much time it's going to take to do them. Because they look really simple. But then you encounter that oh so famous trim. So, generally, they're fine. They're they're great, and they are one of the most striking armies on the table, especially with things like Abraxia, for example. But things like the Chosen, the Chaos Warriors, the Knights, the Varangard, Abraxia, they have so much trim on them that it'll actually drive you insane. So that would be the advice I would give you. Is the trim is going to be the bit that kills your interest in it. So don't buy too many miniatures at once. Take it a box at a time, because it's going to be one of those things where if you buy like 3 boxes of Chaos Warriors and put them together, you'll be like, wow, these are really easy to put together, and then prime them all. It will drive you insane painting more than 10 in a go. And even then I would do it in 5s. Essentially, whenever something like Slaves to Darkness comes across my desk, if it's a unit like something like Chosen, it'll take me 2 days to paint Chosen, and it does not take me 2 days to paint 5 miniatures usually. It'll take me a whole 2 days to do it. Normally it'll take me a day and a bit. So like I'll get everything, like for example doing some Space Marines. If I did 5 Intercessors, for example, they would be Warhipster battle ready after about 6-7 hours, and then I will maybe do about 5 hours, maybe 6 hours worth of highlights on them the next day. With Chaos Warriors, you can get them to battle ready really quickly. But then the thing that really makes them sing, and bearing in mind, you don't actually really have to highlight any armor. Not really. It's all trim. Mostly, it's trim. Would be my advice when it comes to Slaves to Darkness. What it will do, though, having painted anything from Slaves to Darkness, is you'll come out of it with a much better sense of having practiced all of your brush control. You will be a better painter for it, would be my advice. Same thing for Chaos Space Marines. If you paint Chaos Space Marines or Chaos Warriors, you will come out at the end of that and be much better at highlighting by the end of that. So there's an upside to it, you know. There's always an upside. There's always a silver lining, unless it's Bard's family, in which case there is no silver lining. Do you varnish your models usually? No, I don't. I don't varnish any of my models. I don't have time. For me, I personally don't see. I don't have a need to varnish my models. I have really dry hands, so I don't end up rubbing the paint off as soon as I pick them up. If you have oily hands, you can rub paint off. The advice I generally give is just be careful, and you won't have to spend money on varnish. But no, I don't varnish my models. And typically, like even in my case, the only thing that ever really gets chipped is the base. And that's because the bases are painted with base and layer paints. Yay! But because I use contrast paints and quite often shade them now, the shade just locks it all in. Doesn't need a varnish. For me. Your mileage may vary. But no, I don't varnish my miniatures. And at this point, if I was to start, I'd have to spend so much money on varnish. It wouldn't be economical. I'd have to buy probably 30 or 40 cans. If each can did about... Well, if each can you were able to varnish about 50 models, generally. Yeah. I wouldn't even be able to make a dent in my collection by buying one can. Oh, I need to get rid of some models. There comes a point where you just have too many. The problem I have is, like, I want to play with my models. I want to have actually played with them, and that there's entire armies that I've built and painted and things like during the pandemic or whatever that I just haven't had the opportunity or the chance to play with. And so it's like, it'd be a shame to just get rid of it before it's even seen the tabletop. But, you know. It is what it is. Will you keep Bard's family? No, I've told you, I'm going to destroy them. I'm going to destroy them utterly. There will be no trace of them. I'll paint them and then I'll instruct Alice to drive over them in the car. I recommend Tamiya X586 flat clear with a 50-50 mix of Tamiya thinner through an airbrush. Yeah, but then I have to have an airbrush set up and a place to do it, and I don't have any of that. And again, this is the thing. I do not operate in a way where I have to change how I want to do stuff in order to accommodate a tool. I will never do that. Ever. Because it that gets into the realms of justifying doing something else for the sake of it. It's like, and I just don't do it. To me, it's varnishing my miniatures adds a waste of time to my miniatures. And I'm not saying that that's the same for everybody, but for me, I'm adding time to something I don't need to do. So I'm just not going to do it, and I'm not going to waste money on it. Money or time. Of which I have neither. They are very limited resources in this house. So it's just like, no. It's just pointless. Utterly pointless. For me to do. It's like, the other day, I had someone message me saying, would you recommend priming your miniatures in Grey Seer and then priming them with a Mephiston red can? And I was like, no. I wouldn't recommend doing that at all. Why would you do that? So if you're going to do that, prime them black and then prime them red. But you can't use any of my videos, because you can't, if you use Black Templar or Black Legion over the top of red, it's red. It's not black. It would be like a dark red. And that's why I don't use things like That's why I don't use things like Lead Belcher or Retributor Armor Spray. Because I would rather spend my time. So this is the question you have to ask yourself, right? Okay. So, let's say you're painting a Custodes. Let's say you're playing Custodes Wardens. Alright? There's a lot of red cloth on there. So, priming them gold, you can't then use Blood Angels red over the top of it because you'll have shiny cloaks. So, should you then do a couple of layers of Grey Seer or Wraithbone over the top of the red to make it so that it's ready for contrast painting? Why? Use a red paint. And that's the question, and that is what I would encourage everybody to do when you are examining your processes for painting. Is speed. What's going to help you rather than lengthen the time it takes to get stuff done? And that's where you have to be really critical of processes like stuff like what's it called? Sub-assemblies and stuff like zenithal priming and just priming in general. That is the question. I know it seems insane sometimes to prime a metallic miniature, so like a Hallowed Knight. I know it seems crazy to not prime it in silver, but the problem with priming stuff in silver is you still have to paint the silver over it anyway. So you've not actually saved yourself any time. Because if you just try and apply paints directly over the silver, try and shade directly over the silver primer, it'll bead up and it'll run off and this, that and the other. So you have to go in there with the Lead Belcher anyway. Or if you're going to paint it a different silver, so like you want it to be a sort of a bluer colour for the Hallowed Knights, you're still going to have to put the Grey Knight Steel over. So you're going to save yourself a lot of time in the long run by not priming it in Lead Belcher and priming it in a neutral colour like a grey, like a white. You know? Sometimes it can be a bit of a trap, getting caught in certain ways of doing things. Hello, sir. Good to see you in a good mood. Yeah, I'm in a reasonably good mood. I am looking forward to 2025 at this point. I would like to put 2024 to rest. Now, I'd like the year to be over. Is kind of where I'm at the moment. Contrast equivalent to Abaddon Black and Morfang Brown. The simplest answer to that is that there isn't one. The long, complicated answer to that is Mornfang Brown is basically impossible because it's a vaguely diarrhea-esque colour. Abaddon Black, you get close if you use Black Legion and then you shade it with Nuln Oil. The closest you can maybe get to Mornfang Brown is a mix of some stuff, but I wouldn't know the first thing about telling you how to do that. I fundamentally don't like this brown. It's not a good brown. The better browns are Rhinox Hide, Thondia Brown, and Dryad Bark, all of which you can achieve with Wildwood or Cygor Brown, or a mix thereof. Would be what I would say. The irritation and your voice from Bard's family is palpable. Yeah. They are the worst miniatures ever. And I built them, and that was a terrible experience. And I'm going to paint them, and that will also be a terrible experience. And the only joy I will get out of those miniatures is annihilating them. That'll be when I'm happy about it. Like I said. What do you think about new Christmas boxes for AOS? I like them. I think they're pretty good. I bought the Maggotkin of Nurgle one. That one should be turning up for me on Saturday. And I'm excited for that, because that will take me, barring Rotigus, that will take me up to everything I need for a Maggotkin of Nurgle army. I will have over 2,000 points at that point. And so I will need to, and if I buy, I don't need Rotigus to make it up to 2k. I need Rotigus to complete the set, basically. Is what I need to do. I was kind of contemplating doing a sort of like a 24-hour sort of paint-a-thon type thing around New Year's, just finishing off a Maggotkin of Nurgle army, basically. Because it's Rotmire Creed. The other ones, I always forget the name. Putrid Blight Kings, Puskoil Blight Lords, and a Lord of Afflictions is in that box. There is a Harbinger of Decay. Harbinger of Decay or Harbinger of Despair? What's it called? Harbinger of Decay. I was right the first time. Have you painted the Bug Riders yet? I have. Yeah, I did the Puskoil Blight Lords. When did I do them? They came in something. Fulgoth Shudderhood. I painted them this year. This is what I mean. This year's been crazy, man. Like, if I go way back in time. There they are. Puskoil Blight Lords. It says 1 year ago. Okay. A little bit more than this year. That was a tail end of last year was when we did them. 11 months ago was Flesh Eater Courts. I'm pretty certain. And the Old World. When I had the Tomb Kings box turn up a day before, 2 days before disclosure or whatever it was, and it was terrible. I just couldn't do it in time, and my mental health took a massive hit. Why are you painting Bard's family if you don't want to? Sorry, new to your live streams. He was forced by us. Yes. Chat. I said to chat, if you donate, if you hit the super chat goal, I'll buy them and build them and paint them. And then they did. So I'm a man of my word. I have to do it. All I ever want to do is please you guys. How do you keep track of all your paint recipes for everything? Ah, see, I'm quite lucky, Ian, in that I have a YouTube channel and I upload videos for it. So if I want to know how to paint Blood Angels, I go and look up Warhipster, how to paint Blood Angels. That's how I do it. It's quite lucky that I'm in that position, really. It acts as both a learning tool for all of you and a learning tool for me. You know, I'm as reliant on my videos as you guys are. Maybe. You might not be reliant on them at all. You might just like my vibe. In which case, I like your vibe too. But yeah, that's basically how I do it. There are some things that actually, helpfully, you do lead into each other. So, like, for example, very recently, as it happens, doing something like what's a good example? I mean, painting a bunch of Stormcast before doing the Sanguinary Guard is just easy because you're like, yeah, I remember how to do all of this. It's not. I mean, Blood Angels are a bad example because the Blood Angels recipes are all just, you know, locked in up here. But so something like Storm Vermin come out. Storm Vermin and Kritok Foulblade, their recipes were informed by how I painted the gentleman on the Norbeast, the Clawlord on Norbeast. And the Clawlord on Norbeast was informed by the picture. So I just look at the picture and was like, yep, that's how we're going to paint it. And so from that point on, it's like whatever comes out similarly that has a similar vibe to that red, that's how we do it. That's how I remember the recipes, lol. Please never delete your channel, otherwise I'm screwed. Oh, I never will. Don't you worry, Gavin. Asmodeus, thank you very much for 5 gifted Warhipster memberships. That's very kind of you. You're our first gifted memberships of the day. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah, no, so we were actually, I was talking about, Alice and I have talked about this on occasion, right? In that, theoretically, my channel will be around forever. Theoretically. So if I was to, you know, meet my end suddenly, it'd be a case of, well, what happens to the channel? And all that kind of thing. And I was like, well, you'd inherit it. She wouldn't make content or anything like that, but it would be a case of, well, the only thing she'd be responsible for is letting you all know that I was no longer, I'd shuffled off this mortal coil. She'd have to do that. You just have to hope that YouTube never closes. And if it does, well, I have most of my videos on a hard drive. Not all of them. Some of them have disappeared. And some of the early ones got deleted. But I have most of them. Most of the videos I've uploaded. So, if YouTube were to ever close, we would be able to go. We would be able to migrate to a new platform with a lot of my videos, not all of them, but a lot of them. Wow, this got dark. Well, I'll tell you why. The conversation came up because my parents, during the pandemic, my parents became obsessed with the idea that they needed to sort their lives out. So every conversation we had with them, that I had with them at least, was about how, oh, by the way, we figured out what happens to this thing in the event of our demise. And it kept going on and on and on and on. So eventually, of course, it means that Alice and I talked about it. We were talking about getting some wills done, basically, and we think we are gonna have to do that once we've if we buy a house together, when we buy a house together, because we don't have such a thing as common law marriages in this country. So again, in the unlikely event of my sudden departure, all of my stuff legally goes to my parents rather than to Alice. So then they have to sort it out. My in-laws are Swedish. Apparently they've started death cleaning, which is a thing in Scandinavs, apparently. I didn't know that. I don't know what that is. What is that? Do you get your parents' cats? I don't think that they're factored into it, but I think maybe I would. If it was sudden. But I would hope that my parents will outlive the cats. It's a very strange conversation now. How is Ungrim? Oh, he's built. There he is. I've lost his base. I don't know where it's gone, but he's built. He can stand on top of the microphone. Like that. I should design a little plinth to go on the microphone, so I can make it look on brand by doing that. How many pieces was he? He was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is he made of resin? He is indeed. Forge World resin. Forge World's yucky resin. A truly horrible material to work with. And no instructions. Nope, no instructions at all. How long have you been painting? I have been painting miniatures since I was 6 years old. I am now 34. So, 28 years. Put Bard's family on the microphone. No. They don't deserve any more screen time. They've had their time in the sun for now. How is the Titan thing going? I haven't done any more work on it since the last time you guys saw me doing work on it. I'm trying to keep as much of the Titan stuff visible. So I'm not working on it in my spare time. In work time. I don't have spare time. My spare time is used for sleeping and eating. So yeah, I haven't done anything more. But the gun is all cleaned up, even though I messed it up. So there's a huge gap now on between two of the components. So I'm gonna have to figure out how I'm gonna fill that gap because it looks awful. So you know, just £150 mistake. The head is all cleaned up, and I started the power claw. I will finish the power claw when I'm ready. Thomas, for the last time, Bard's family are being destroyed. They're not going anywhere else other than hell. I've been a professional designer for 25 years. I started when I was 25. That was a long time. I hope to do YouTube for 25 years. That would be nice. I don't think anyone's close to that. I saw that LTT are just celebrating 16 years. I don't think it's even been around as a platform for that for 20 years yet. I'm not sure. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I would love to do this for that long. I did have a slightly weird thought earlier, and I was like, what would happen if Games Workshop discontinued contrast paint? That would be hard to deal with as a channel. "19 years so far. Launched in 2005. There you go. Oh, so next year's the 20th birthday. What a nice idea to follow you on YouTube when I'm retired. Oh, that would be nice, wouldn't it? I suspect if I'm still doing this when I'm so another 25 years I'll be 59. That would mean that we would be on, so in 25 years time, so what are we on now? So there would be there will be another edition of, so there'll be 11th edition of Warhammer 40k. Will not be next year, it'll be the year after, so 2026. So that'll be 2 years. So 23 divided by 3. Well, 23 divided by 3. So we'll be on 18th edition Warhammer 40k. Would you quit or switch to another speed paint? I don't know. It might be that I would possibly try. I would try other one coat solutions. I would probably move to Vallejo if I had to choose. The problem would be that the majority of the channel is in contrast paint. So what do I do with those videos? You know, because they're no longer available. None of it would be available, right? Is YouTube money tax counting to retirement? Yeah, it would. It would count. I mean, you have to pay tax on it now, so yeah, it would count as taxable income. Redo all the videos with the inevitable plastic monopose resculpts. Yeah. 25 years time, people will be getting excited about the new Warp Spiders release. They finally updated them. Again! I've paid GW 3 times for the same miniatures. And what's the difference? They're slightly taller each time. That's the unspoken thing about all the new plastic aspect warriors. Don't forget, you've paid them twice for the same miniature, because nothing's different other than the height. Space Marines. Well, that'd be interesting, wouldn't it? It'd be based on... So, from now, we will be just approaching 25 years' time. We would be just... If again, this is all providing on it's still existing. Who knows? It might not exist in 10 years. So what? We're on 4th edition now of Age of Sigmar. So 3, 6, 9... And that was this year. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24... So we'll have just finished, or we'll be halfway through 12th edition Age of Sigmar, which would mean that we would be on our fourth iteration of Liberators. Are there any Vallejo speed paints you prefer, but you stick with contrast due to the contrast plus theme / brand? No, there's none that I prefer. I think they're good paints. The problem, the slight issue, let's say, with the Vallejo stuff and the speed paint stuff is there are no equivalents. There's close, but they're not equivalent. So Blood Angels Red looks different to the red that you get from, I don't know the names of Vallejo or speed paint. They are close. The tones are all close, but they don't match. So I didn't say there's any that I prefer. I would just have to change. How many editions of Warhammer Fantasy was there before the end times? I think we're more likely to see a repeat of that than an 18th version of 40k. There were 8 editions of Fantasy. So we're already 2 beyond that. The only way I see 40k having a end times and then being revamped into a new universe type thing. The only way I see that happening is if 40k miniatures stop selling and stop being the best sellers for Games Workshop, which they are not looking like they're going to do anytime soon. They're going to run out of miniatures to make taller eventually, so then they'll have to make new ones like that Warp Spider's Phoenix Lord, which is an amazing miniature. I think that is beautiful model. I think it's the best 40k miniature that has been released, been at least previewed this year, and it proves my point about 40k that new is always better. The new miniatures for things that you didn't know were coming are always going to delight and surprise much more than we made the Warp Spiders taller. And they're in plastic now. Are there new races they can bring into 40k? Tau were the last ones, right? Apart from Votan / squats. Yeah, this is the question, is where are they? Like, the unveiling of Votan and Tau is quite similar. The Tau entered the galaxy because the warp storms finally abated around their planet and they were technologically advanced. We weren't able to look in and they weren't able to look out. But now look at them. There's this amazing race here. Votan's very similar in that they were in the galactic core all along, just nobody looked there. And so on and so forth. So the question is, where are those other races? What I would like to see from 40k is an alien race made up of aliens that are not bipeds. Things that are genuinely alien. It's where I get a little bit disappointed with miniatures like the Norn Emissary, which is it's a gorgeous model. It's lovely. It's just a really big bipedal alien, though. That's it. It's a thing on two legs. So I would like to see something that is truly alien. Would be what I would prefer to see. And if you were to ask me what that looked like, I wouldn't want to tell you what I think it looks like, because I don't know. I don't want to know what it'll look like. I like models that I can't predict. And a Warp Spider's Phoenix Lord was not on my bingo card, because we've never had a Warp Spider's Phoenix Lord, and now we do. And it looks amazing. It's a genuinely beautiful model. It's what 40k is capable of making when it makes great models, and it's what we all fell in love with in the first place. You know, is that kind of thing. Is when it's like, ooh, it's brand new, it's exciting, it's beautiful. New sludge monster army. Yeah, that would work. There's an entire universe of possibilities, right? Not everything walks in the universe on two legs. Just saying. Anyway. I can imagine Josh is looking when opening the starter box of 15th edition 40k, finding another 40 clan rats. Yeah, that would be a thing, wouldn't it? I wouldn't be impressed, to be honest. People will say, Josh, 15 years ago you used to be so bright and full of enthusiasm. What happened to you? And I'll be like, 15 years of painting the same miniatures over and over and over again? That'll do it. Anyway, guys. We're going to end it there. We've been streaming for 2 hours. It's usually where we end things. So thank you very much for hanging out with me tonight. I thank you for your support as we got through those terrible, terrible miniatures. And that really nice one. I can't tell you when they're going to get painted, because I'm far too busy at the moment. But it will happen eventually. Stuff always eventually gets done around here. Eventually. I just don't know the exact dates as and when. But thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. I will see you all on Saturday for a video. That's the next piece of content for you. And then there might be another one on Sunday. I haven't decided yet. We'll see. We'll figure it out. I'll get there eventually. Something just fell on the floor. Felt like something heavy, but I don't know what it was. It might have been my hobby knife. No, it wasn't. It was over there. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with me, guys. I will see you all very soon in the next one. Here is the hand of farewell, and I'll see you on Saturday. Bye for now. Love you guys. Bye.